Hi, welcome back to Growth Catalyst. Today we are going to discuss how critical is your grade point average. In fact, let's also discuss how critical is your education after you have started working. I keep seeing lots of resumes where even after 3, 4, 5 years of working, people still put education as a top point in their resume. In my viewpoint, that's not going to cut ice. That's not going to help them. Even when you are a new grad, your GPA or your scores, whatever that you are being measured by your institute, is not as critical as you think it is. You should not score low GPAs. I'm not saying that any GPA is good. No, sorry, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can fail and still make it. Some people make it, but that's not for all the people. No. Some people like Gates drop out of the institute and still make it to the richest person in the world. But those are the exceptions. Don't take it as a rule. So what am I talking about? I'm saying you don't have to have the perfect top level GPAs or the scores, which only a few people in the class can score, which is known. So if you don't have those perfect scores, what do? Should you go disheartened? If you have average score or slightly above average scores, what happens to you? Should you be disheartened? Should you be worried? No. That's what I want to discuss about. Let's dive in and see why I'm saying what I'm saying. If I take my own case, I had a decent GPA in my engineering. I had a decent score in my MBA, but I don't believe those were the reasons which helped me land the job that I wanted to land, which finally I landed. I believe that it's my skills, it's my attitude, it's my aptitude, way above those GPAs, which really helped me land the job. GPA helped me as far as getting me that interview. If I had a very low GPA, I may not even have been selected for that interview. But what helped me in that interview? What really helped me crack that interview? That's not the GPA. That's nothing to do with the GPA. It's in fact my zeal on the subject, which was market research and which is market research you are now, and the kind of things that I wanted to learn and my curiosity. Only those were the differentiating parameters when it came to selection in the interview, not my GPA. You're an entry level person and you are worried about your relatively poorer GPA. You are not in the top 10 in the class. You are okay, but you are not there as gods of the class. Don't worry. Because what you need is a decent average GPA to land the interview. But after that, it's your portfolio which is going to take over. The kind of projects you have done, the kind of learning that you have got from those projects, the kind of communication skills you have got, the kind of thinking skills you have got, the kind of clarity that you can bring to the table through your thinking skills. Those are what is really getting tested in the interview. Your GPA is only a foot in the door. It gains you entry. It's a passport. It's an entry giver to that interview. And therefore, you need to ensure that you are not too low on your GPA. If you are just pass or worse, if you fail, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. All that the GPA is going to do is to gain entry for you in the right company interviews. That is the only role of the GPA. It tells the interviewers that you are a decent bloke who had studied hard. And therefore, the takeout of the GPA is that this bloke can work hard. Study hard is equal to the ability to work hard, the ability to focus, the ability to spend concentrated, focused time. And that ability you have. That is all that the GPA is proving to the interviewers. Interviewers want to find out a lot more beyond that. And what they want to find out in the interview is about your thinking ability, your problem solving ability, your pattern understanding ability, your creative ability, your critical thinking skills, and your communication ability. All of this is what is going to be much beyond your GPA. So if in case you have a lower GPA and you are worried, you don't have to worry about it. Now let's come to people who are experienced, but you still keep putting in your resume education as the front runner. Why are you doing this? I'm not demeaning you. Education is, of course, important. It has given you passport. But the role of the passport is to gain entry into the country. Once you gain the entry, passport has to be put into the bag. Its role is over. You can't and you don't have to carry that as the identity for you. No. I see lots of resumes where the first portion and the resume is all of 1 or 2 pages, 1 page ideally. And people waste half a page talking about their education with 5 years of experience. You talk about your experience, you talk about your skills. You talk about what you did in your job. Forget your education. It has done its role. It is not effective anymore. It is not useful anymore. Where you studied, have you studied, what GPA you got, immaterial once you have got 1 or 2 years under your belt. That experience is all that is going to matter going forward. The fact that you did MBA or the fact that you did not do your MBA is not going to matter. No, don't worry about it. And therefore, focus on what you have done. What are the skills you have got? What is the experience you have got? What are the projects that you have done? Focus on your portfolio to talk about that in your resume. Let's look at it from the employee's perspective. What do the employees care about? What do they care about? They care about an employee who can solve problems. They care about the person who can bring in creative solutions. They care about the person who can think on their feet. They care about the person who can get things done. They care about a person who can talk cohesively with clarity and communicate to the team. They care about a person who can take things and lead the team. They care about the person who can manage the project well. That's all that they care about. They don't care whether your GPA was 3.2 out of 4 or 3.9 out of 4. Frankly, it doesn't matter. They don't worry about whether you were top of the class with 9.8 GPA out of 10 or you just got a 7 plus GPA out of 10. That doesn't bother them once you are in the organization. To gain entry into the organization, yes, your GPA matters. But after that, it doesn't matter. Completely doesn't matter. So don't worry about your GPA. Worry about the skills which matter. Worry about the experience which matter. Worry about the kind of learnings you have got from all the collective experience which matter. Now let's analyze it further. Let's take person 1. Let's take person 2. Person 1 has got a perfect score. 10 out of 10 MB. 10 out of 10 GPA. Person 2 does not have this perfect score. He has maybe a 7 plus, 7.5 plus GPA. Decent GPA, not a bad GPA. Decent GPA, but nothing compared to this 10 out of 10. But this guy got skills. This guy got communication abilities. This guy has a portfolio of projects. And while doing these projects, he missed a little bit on figuring out examination. While doing these projects, this guy maybe missed out a little bit on scoring marks in these examinations. And that is why he's a 7.5. That is why this bloke is a 10 out of 10. Whom do you think the employer will prefer more? Believe me, if I'm the employer, I'm going to prefer this guy compared to this guy. Unless this guy also has extraordinary communication skills and projects and portfolio, then between the two, I'll prefer this person. But if this person displays the portfolio, displays the kind of projects that he has done, displays the kind of learning that he has got from the projects, and this is the person I want. So it's very, very clear from employer's perspective. It's very, very clear from any analysis of top ranking, top performing people in the academics and how they perform in the real world. They don't necessarily perform better in the real world compared to people who got a little bit lower GPA. So don't worry about your lower GPA as long as it is a decent GPA. If you've got very low GPA, you may not even gain entry into the door. So remember that, and therefore you have to get decent GPAs, but not necessarily very high GPAs from an employability perspective. The only caution that I want to leave you with is when it comes to academics, when it comes to scholarships, life may be very different. So this is a caveat that I want you to leave with. If you are applying for scholarships, if you are applying for further examinations, if you're applying for MTech after your BTech or MBA after your BTech, the score that you have on your GPA might actually help. Because academics do care about it and your GPA becomes a tiebreaker there. And hence, if your ambition is to go after higher studies with scholarships, then you better have better GPAs. But if all you want is to have a crack in the real world, all you want is to gain employment, then you don't have to worry if you are not in the top 10 of your class, as long as you have decent GPAs. You need to figure out what kind of GPAs will gain entry into the interviews. To that extent, you need to keep GPAs. Otherwise, you don't have to worry about it. Put that energy, put the time, put the zeal into understanding and cracking real world problems, gaining project expertise, gaining experience, and building your portfolio of skills. That would matter a lot more with any employer. Like and subscribe my channel. See you in our next episode.